What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on Off The Script. I got a little bit of extra for you. It is December 3rd, 2021. I am JD from New York, and this is the OTS venue. Follow me on social media at JDfromNY206. That's Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for notifications. Join the podcast family here on Off The Script. Hit that join button. Become a channel member. You guys get access to those custom OTS badges and emotes. Make sure you guys go check out all the other videos that you might have missed on the channel. Everything you need is on the homepage right there for you, so go check it out if you missed any of the content this week. And make sure you guys go get your new Off The Script merchandise, now available on bonfire.com. Everything you need is linked right underneath the video player right there for you. It'll take you right to bonfire.com, the exclusive home of Off The Script. Also, guys, very important, hit that thumbs up. Let's try for 1,000 likes on today's OTS Extra. We're going to start at the top, man. There was news coming out of Monday Night Raw about wrestlers not being happy about WWE referencing released talent in their storylines to, in particular, Edge, Miz, and Liv Morgan, Becky Lynch. So on Raw, WWE, and I use this term loosely, attempted to push the envelope. They pushed no envelope whatsoever. All they did was become a very insensitive group of people on Monday night, and they tried to copy AEW's homework from CM Punk MJF the week prior. That's all they showed you on Monday night. So they tried to push the envelope. WWE right now is a creative fail. They don't know how to be cool. They don't know how to be original. They're looking for anything to generate a buzz on their show. On Monday night, Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch cut promos on each other about their Raw Women's Championship match coming next week on Raw. Morgan blamed Lynch for these releases of Ruby Soho, Sarah Logan, the Riot Squad, as you guys know. So Liv Morgan is blaming Becky Lynch for the termination of Ruby Soho and Sarah Logan, stating that my friends were released because WWE has to pay you the big-time contract. Then The Miz, on the other side of things, with Edge, they tried to get a cheap reaction over there. There was a line from Miz about being unhappy about Edge not mentioning him among the talent he wants to wrestle on Raw. That line is grade A, 100% a carbon copy of what MJF said about CM Punk. That line mirrored what MJF said last week on Dynamite about CM Punk not mentioning him during media interviews on his way back to the company in regards to talent CM Punk wants to get into the ring with. Now, some of the segments on Raw this past Monday, they were scripted in a way to take a jab at last week's Punk MJF promo and use the news about the recent WWE releases to add heat to two of these storylines. So during the WWE Raw post-show review on Fightful, Sean Ross Sapp said that he's heard from people who previously worked for the company and one current wrestler who was not thrilled with these segments. Sapp said, and I quote, "It happened several times during the show, and I had former WWE wrestlers, former WWE producers, and a current WWE wrestler that were all telling me how bad of a taste they thought it was," end quote. WWE is desperately trying to create any type of social media reaction, any type of buzz about these quote-unquote worked shoot promos, and it appears that most fans realize that the wrestlers were just reciting lines given to them by the writers, while MJF and CM Punk consisted of two guys who came off the cuff and were given bullet points to make things seem genuine, authentic, and real. I mentioned this. It's funny that Sapp mentioned this because while he was live, I was live. And I mentioned this when I was talking about the breakdown of that Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch segment. The contract signing sucked. Becky Lynch aside, she's awful. Liv Morgan, I said this, Liv Morgan came off as if she was reciting lines written to her or given to her written by some idiot in creative. And that's the way it was projected to us. Liv Morgan came off as if she just remembered these lines and memorized these lines 5 minutes before she went through Gorilla, went out there, and it was projected in a way where she was struggling to memorize her lines. Even her delivery sounded very robotic. It didn't sound like somebody that was angry about anything. She's got a lot to be angry about. But why is she angry about Ruby Soho and Sarah Logan being released? In fact, you should be looking at both of those situations and being happy for both of them. Sarah Logan just had a child. She's now a mother. I don't know how well that would be going if she was still in WWE. She gets to be home with her family and take care of her kid. She's going to be fine. Ruby Soho, she's now in AEW, more than likely going to be crowned the first TBS Women's Champion. So I don't see how WWE releasing these two women is a bad thing. They both have found their way after life in WWE. The thing that got people upset was the simple fact that WWE made it seem like Becky Lynch's contract is the sole reason for these women being released. That's not the case. WWE can keep everybody that they've hired on talent contracts and not fire anybody because the company is making more money now than ever before. I'm not saying releases didn't need to happen, but in the sheer number of releases that we've seen, did all of them need to be released? I don't think so. And the fact that you're using someone's misfortune in a storyline to push a story right now between Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch is quite sad because now people are focused on that being the integral part of the story. But it shouldn't be. All Liv Morgan needed to do was go out there and claim management's held her down. Management doesn't believe in her. WWE thinks that Liv Morgan can't cut it. She's not a main eventer. She's not blonde enough. She's not Becky Lynch. She's had to fight and claw her way to a championship match. It's sad that this was her first contract signing. She should have been given this based off the hard work that she's done and shown us to get better. But no, WWE wants to throw in Ruby Soho and Sarah Logan, the Riot Squad getting fired, her friends being fired. Now that's an integral part of the storyline. It's sad. You're not pushing envelopes. You're not being, cool by mentioning real life things that happen. Yeah, real life things happen, but people lost their job. If you find amusement in that and you want to use that as a vehicle to push this nothing storyline, then that makes you a pathetic old man, Vince, Bruce, looking right at you, both of you. Liv Morgan's management holding her down should be the focus of this storyline. Not people that she knows that were fired because of quote-unquote budget cuts, which we all know is bullshit. WWE creatively is at the lowest point in the history of their career. If you sent, and I said this on Monday, if you sent Liv Morgan out there with bullet points and you didn't have her scripted to say this stupid garbage on Monday night, how much better off would the segment have been if Liv Morgan went out there and cut a promo from the heart? I guarantee you Liv Morgan would not mention anything about her friends being released. That's not the story. That line was given to her by Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon. If you think otherwise, you don't know what the fuck you're watching. As far as Miz and Edge, it's the same thing. Everything that Edge said, I have no problem with. Because Edge is going to make it sound great. Because Edge is one of the greatest of all time. And Edge, I don't know if you guys know this, is given the freedom to go out there and do what he wants and say what he wants. Nobody is writing for Edge. Nobody. I want to make sure you guys know that right now very well. People are writing for The Miz. The Miz comes out there and everybody thinks he's a great promo. He's a very good promo. He's not great by any means. This was not his best work on Monday night. But people, again, jumped on my back wanting to crucify me to the cross because of what I said on Monday night, how WWE copied AEW's homework. The Miz went out there and gave you a line word for word that MJF used on Wednesday night in his promo against CM Punk. So how is WWE not copying AEW's homework. And I mentioned this on Wednesday with Jesse. Dancing with the Stars has been over. It's been over. The Miz has been eliminated. So all it takes is for CM Punk, of all people, to mention The Miz on Dynamite, and then the following week, we see The Miz on television? I find that to be very bizarre there, Bruce. Man, oh man, you make everything seem so blatant nowadays. You don't even try to hide it. So where am I wrong, being that MJF said something about Punk not mentioning him on his list of guys he wants to wrestle, and there we have The Miz saying the same thing. And then we had Edge mention John Morrison in the same way that Liv Morgan mentioned the Riot Squad being released. John Morrison was let go. You're off doing Dancing with the Stars, and you left your partner high and dry to go dance with Dancing with the Stars, said Edge. I don't know why we need this line to be mentioned here. I don't really get it, and I don't understand why anybody finds this to be a thing that is going to generate interest. All people are going to do is look at that and say, you know what? WWE are a bunch of insensitive fucks. That doesn't need to be mentioned. There's nothing there between Edge and The Miz. It may come from the Edge. It may come from Edge, but it's not coming from Miz at all. WWE wanted to do something as far as a mixed tag team match. Edge and Beth Phoenix are not the two guys, the two people that I would put in the ring with, Miz and Maurice. If you wanted something as far as a mixed tag team match, John Morrison and Taya Valkyrie were the two perfect candidates for that. But where are they? They were released. If I want to see Edge and Beth Phoenix in a storyline mixed tag team match, the only people I want to see those two people in a mixed tag team match with are Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. And you make it real. Because I'm sure Edge and Seth Rollins can come up with something that's going to really generate interest better than The Miz and Maurice. Miz and Maurice, there's nothing there. There's absolutely nothing there. And WWE is trying and blatantly copying AEW because they don't know how to be original and cool anymore. So for all the geeks out there that continue to piss and moan and complain about my takes, you're going to end up watching me no matter what. And I'm going to make sure every single time that you're right there watching, complaining and bitching to all you nothing followers on social media because you know I am right. The truth hurts, and I love when people get upset at the truth. Ring of Honor talent. Ring of Honor talent was backstage at Dynamite. Jonathan Gresham and Matt Taven, who are both under Ring of Honor contracts that are set to expire in a few weeks, they were backstage at Dynamite. Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, they are the current Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions. They're scheduled to face Mark and Jay Briscoe for the tag team titles at Final Battle. Jonathan Gresham will challenge Bandito for the Ring of Honor World title at that show. They're both well-known names who stand a very good chance of landing with Impact or AEW. I am not surprised about Jonathan Gresham being backstage in Atlanta for AEW. I believe he's actually opening up his own promotion and running his own show, Terminus, in Atlanta, January 2022, and that's where the show is going to be taking place. I believe he actually does live in that area. I believe he does live in Georgia. So, I mean, it makes sense for him to be there with his indie show happening. And then obviously there's interest there from AEW. I don't know why there wouldn't be. Jonathan Gresham has the potential to be a breakout guy in the world of professional wrestling. All he needs is a major stage to showcase that talent. He's excellent. He's better than excellent. Put him in the ring with anybody on that roster and let him go to work. When Bryan eventually retires, Jonathan Gresham is going to take that spot for Bryan when he is no longer capable of working full-time with AEW. So the fact that his independent show's happening in Atlanta and obvious interest from AEW to bring him in, I'm not surprised with him being there. There's a lot of people on that Ring of Honor roster that could end up with AEW, but I also think Impact is going to benefit from these releases as well. I see Danhausen ending up with AEW. I see the Briscoes. Jay Lethal's already there. Brody King. And Roosh, whenever he gets better. I know he's on the sidelines right now with an injury. Bandito even. He's worked with AEW in the past. Impact is going to be a major player for these free agents as well. I don't know how often, when something like this happens, WWE is going to be interested, but with their current mantra and their policies, I don't see WWE looking at any of these talent at all to bring into the main roster or NXT. Maybe the women. I know WWE is always looking to really add to the women's division on NXT, and I really do think it needs to be added to. So we will see what happens there, but Impact and AEW are going to benefit most, and I'm not surprised that Jonathan Gresham was backstage at Dynamite on Wednesday. Shawn Michaels. He says Triple H has not returned to NXT yet. Yet? Shawn Michaels is going to be waiting a very long time for Triple H to come back. Here's a clue, Mr. HBK. Triple H is never coming back to work. Triple H has been more visible as of late in September. Triple H underwent a procedure for a serious cardiac event. And Meltzer said it was very, very, very serious. So he's back now. But footage of Hunter touring the site of WWE's new headquarters recently surfaced. So he has been doing, office work and being a lackey for Vince and WWE management, and he's been talking to the media about the new WWE Collegiate NIL program, so he's been working at least part-time. Shawn Michaels recently talked to Jim Varsalone. He gave an update on Triple H's health. He also said that he hasn't returned to NXT, quote-unquote, just yet. Shawn Michaels says, right now for me, I've told him, I don't care how good you are, you stay away, get healthy, concentrate on you. The thing is, he put in a fabulous team here, and that's why it's able to continue on without him, because he put phenomenal people in place. I'm just the guy that gets to expedite everything and run traffic. The team he has put in place was prepared for these kind of days, and we want him to get healthy. He doesn't have anything to worry about. We'll be here when he gets back, end quote. Shawn Michaels, I respect the fact that you are so positive that Triple H may be returning to WWE television, or NXT, I should say, backstage and taking over his duties on NXT. The thing that Shawn Michaels doesn't know is that Triple H no longer has any more duties on NXT. That was removed by Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon. Triple H was actively removed from all power regarding anything NXT related. He is not coming back to NXT. He will not be backstage in NXT. And if he does show up back at NXT, he will have absolutely no creative influence over anything whatsoever. That is now handled by Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon. But the funny thing is, I find it hilarious how nobody will admit that Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon are running NXT. It's not that difficult to see. All you have to do is watch how the fucking show has turned into a comedy show. It's turned into a legit circus. I don't remember Triple H's NXT being a circus, but now all of a sudden Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard's NXT is an unfun work environment and a fucking circus. Give me a break. It's Monday Night Raw light on Tuesday night. I get enough of Monday on Monday Night Raw. Now I got to see Monday on Tuesday night as well. I don't want to have double cases of the Mondays, man. I don't. NXT on most weeks is unwatchable. And War Games is going to be another step forward in erasing the legacy of Triple H and Paul Levesque's version of NXT. That's it. That's it. He's not coming back to work. It's going to be like that he's going to be like that hopeful wife looking out the window, looking for her husband to come home from serving overseas, and he never comes back. And then you get the knock on the door. Sorry for your loss, Miss So-and-so. He knows. He's just acting like a fucking ignorant idiot. Give me a break. WWE considering dropping the Cruiserweight Championship. Meltzer talked about this on The Observer. He noted in The Observer that he has heard talk of WWE potentially getting rid of the title. Roderick Strong is set to defend the title against Joe Gacy, who is clearly above the 205 weight limit, and this is happening at Sunday's War Games. Just this past Tuesday on NXT, Gacy teased an all-inclusive title coming into NXT. Meltzer said, and I quote, "Did you see the Joe Gacy segment? It feels like they're going to change the 205 live show. I've heard that they want to ditch the Cruiserweight title. The all-inclusive championship. Is that the deal? Brian Alvarez pointed out how WWE may not do that, considering WWE wouldn't let him wrestle the female performers, Joe Gacy. He speculated that it could be called the open weight title, but he brought up how the brand already has two separate titles from the men's division, the NXT title and the North American Championship. Meltzer added, it's different people running the show, like the old people. So there you go. It's not the young people running the show anymore, man. They wanted the Cruiserweight title to be legit. Triple H and his team wanted the Cruiserweight title to be legit. When has Vince McMahon ever embraced anybody under 205 pounds? Nobody. Never. They told everyone to be 205 and under, or they can't be in the division. You think these guys are going to do weigh-ins? They stopped doing weigh-ins a long time ago. The whole idea of Joe Gacy challenging for the Cruiserweight title and Malcolm Bivens waiving the weight limit, yeah, that's what I heard. The whole 205 live show is now how Vince McMahon does things. We'll see what happens, but they've talked about that. I know they've talked about changing the 205 live show with the Cruiserweight title thing. I don't know if they're going to do it in this situation here. It feels like they are because Gacy is getting all kinds of TV time. And Meltzer continued by saying that WWE feels like Gacy has the potential, and that's why he is being pushed. You know, I mentioned this a couple weeks ago on my last NXT post show where Gacy challenged Roderick Strong and Roderick Strong accepted, and we all knew that Joe Gacy was not 205 pounds or less to be a challenger for the Cruiserweight title. What I said then is the same way I think now. I mean, I don't care. I don't really care about what they do with the Cruiserweight Championship. They have actively eliminated everything that Triple H has created. The Cruiserweight tournament was one of WWE's greatest productions of all time. That was an amazing tournament from top to bottom. And it's sad that we'll never get to see that again with that type of talent in the company. But Triple H and what he was doing was so terrible, right? It was so wrong. It wasn't the right direction, says the misinformed geeks on social media, says Bruce and Vince. I find that to be very difficult to believe. This is Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard running the show. If you need any more confirmation that they're running NXT, look at this. This would never happen under Paul Levesque, but it's happening under Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard. I said it then, and I'm going to say it now. I hope Joe Gacy beats Roderick Strong and wins the Cruiserweight Championship. But the one thing is, I hope he retires the title and gets rid of it as an example that you don't need these weight limits and body shaming and, you know, these aspects of, only 205 pounds can challenge for the title, but I want the title. Why are you excluding me? He wants an all-inclusive championship, or that's the rumor, all-inclusive championship, meaning that anybody over 205 pounds can challenge for the Cruiserweight Championship. Odyssey Jones can challenge for the Cruiserweight Championship. They want an all-inclusive. A female can challenge for the all-inclusive champ. That would ruin the show beyond recognition. It would. I don't need women challenging for men's titles, okay? Keep that shit on the indies. This is not the fucking indies. Well, it might as well be with this fucking show the way it's portrayed. I don't need women challenging for men's titles. You have tag team titles and you have a women's championship on that show. You don't need women going out and challenging for men's championships. Give me a fucking break. You got your own shit, keep it to your own division. While the men do what they got to do in their division. That's it. You want an all-inclusive championship with the women challenging the men? I'll never watch NXT again. I will never watch NXT again. That is just playing more and more into the political fucking climate of what's going on in the world today. And the Joe Gacy gimmick, he's lucky he is as good as he is, because I hated this shit because they were bringing shit from the outside in, and he's making it work. It seemed like they toned it down a little bit. And Harland and the pairing of Harland and Joe Gacy is working really well. I like the presence of these guys. And Joe Gacy, I hope he wins the title on Sunday. It means two things. Get rid of it. If you're not going to invest in it and invest in the division and invest in that type of talent, then get rid of it. Get rid of it. Retire the title. I would not be surprised if they eliminate that because it's a Triple H thing anyway. Then you got Roderick Strong. Roddy is having his talent wasted. He doesn't fit the mold there. He doesn't fit the whole NXT 2.0 vibe. Get rid of him. I could absolutely see, and I hope to God that this doesn't happen, but at the same time, I hope it does. They beat him on Sunday at War Games, and during the next round of cuts, they let him go. Then Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong could be set free, and we could see all of Undisputed Era in AEW. That's what I hope happens. That's what I hope genuinely happens. But if you do an all-inclusive championship, you're better off just retiring the title and keeping what you got there as far as championships is concerned. I don't want to see another championship added to NXT. We do not need it. I don't think it's going to happen because WWE is never on board with male versus female matches, intergender matches. So I don't think we're going to get that, but an open weight championship, I'd be a little bit more open to that, but I don't think we need another championship on NXT television. There's enough already. We got tag team, we got North American, we got NXT title, we got women's tag team titles, we got a women's championship. There's 5 championships on the brand. If you want to add another title, you actively have to get rid of another title that you currently have. So if you want to do an open weight championship, get rid of the women's tag team titles because they aren't doing shit with them anyway. There's no division. Who are Toxic Attraction going to wrestle for those tag team championships? There are no legit teams. After Casey and Kaden Carter, who exactly is there? Nobody. It's the same problem the main roster has. Why do we have championships, yet you have no division? Unreal. I am not surprised they're considering dropping the NXT title. It's a Paul Levesque creation. Get rid of it. We don't want anything of him here on this 2.0. Beth Phoenix. She announces her departure from NXT. Oh, really? You mean a week after Scottie Too Hotty just got up and asked for his release and wants to quit? Really now? I find this to be quite the coincidence, right? Beth Phoenix announced on Thursday that she's leaving NXT and the commentary team after Sunday's War Games event. This will be her final night in this role. She did note that she will remain a part of WWE. She posted this statement on social media, and I quote, "Ahead of War Games, I wanted to share that this Sunday will be my final night in NXT. While I remain a part of WWE, I have made the choice to step away from the weekly broadcast booth to spend more time with my family. This was not an easy decision, as I have loved my 3+ years and the 135 episode with NXT, and I'm incredibly proud of the brand. I will be forever grateful to Vic Joseph, Wade Barrett, Nigel McGuinness, Tom Phillips, Mauro Ranallo, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Michael Cole, and my entire NXT family, both in and out of the ring, for the amazing opportunity. NXT will always be a part of me, and Auntie Betty will always be a part of NXT. Leave the porch light on for me." End quote. She's been on the commentary team since May 2019, where she sat along Mauro Ranallo and Nigel McGuinness. She replaced Percy Watson, if you guys remember. This marked the first time that she's been made a full-time commentator. There's been talk of Phoenix being used in a return role during the Miz and Edge feud on Monday Night Raw. So, I had people already complaining about my take on this. "Oh, you don't have sources. You don't have any sources, man." First of all, clearly these people have not heard a single fucking word out of my mouth for the last 5 years. Number one. Number two, you don't find it to be a coincidence, a coinky-dink, that Beth Phoenix just gets up and walks away after Mr. Scottie Too Hotty already had asked for his release just a week prior, right? None of this finds itself as bizarre or weird or what the fuck to you. Seriously. Then there was a report, and we're going to talk about this on tomorrow's live Off the Script. Brian Alvarez reported that he's heard from several sources backstage with NXT that many people backstage don't think it's fun anymore. Really? So Beth Phoenix gets up and quits the commentary booth on NXT, and then we get that report from Brian Alvarez. I don't find that to be a fucking coincidence at all. The truth of the matter is, Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon are running NXT into the fucking grave, and nobody wants to be a part of it. Who's to say that Wade Barrett doesn't get up and quit? Who's to say Vic Joseph doesn't get up and quit? How many other people want to quit but don't because they fear for what may be coming? I don't know. I don't know why anybody would think this is not correlation to what's going on in NXT. This woman loved doing the commentary booth. Loved everybody she mentioned. I didn't hear her mention Vince McMahon. I didn't hear her mention anybody on Vince McMahon's team. It's all Triple H team. Wade Barrett, Nigel McGuinness, Tom Phillips, Mauro Ranallo, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Michael Cole, who's the guy behind all the commentators, no matter where you are. He's the head guy getting all the commentators ready. He's the main producer for all the commentaries, Michael Cole. But you mean to tell me Beth Phoenix is leaving because, what? She needs to do a main roster thing with her husband? You mean to tell me she can't do both? She can't do both Monday night and Tuesday night? She can't wrestle and commentate? I don't see why she can't do that. There was no problem mentioning Edge on her commentary team when she wanted to mention Edge during Seth Rollins. When Seth Rollins was breaking into their home, quote unquote, she mentioned the storyline, talked about the storyline then. There was mentions of Adam Copeland on commentary several times throughout her 3 years. But now it's a problem for her to do Tuesday night commentary and wrestle on Monday night, supposedly, if this is where the feud is going? Or is she leaving because she can't stand to be there anymore? You know, I want to believe, she says, I want to be more, I want to spend more time with my family. But the reality of the situation is, if she shows up on Monday night to do a fucking 4, 5, 6 week feud with her husband against Miz and Maurice, you're not really being at home with your family. So what exactly are you doing? You can't do that and then go back to do commentary? You're just getting up from a position that you loved for the last 3 years with all the people that helped you become a very good color commentator? You just want to get up and walk away. She can do Monday night and then go back to the commentary booth. She's going to end up doing Monday night and then not go back to doing the commentary gig on NXT. Why? Because what Brian Alvarez said is the truth. Nobody is having fun in NXT. Beth Phoenix is using the family thing as a cover-up. She would go back to NXT if things were the way they should be, but they're not. She's going to wrestle with her husband, and she's not going back to the unfun environment on Tuesday night. There you have it. I don't expect her to say anything else on social media. She's going to give all these geeks and all these fucking simps out there, these check marks, exactly what they want to hear. The reality of the situation is NXT continues to die a little every single week, and this is another reason why. WWE announces NIL, Next in Line Collegiate Athletics Program. WWE has announced that the company is launching an NIL program that promises to provide a pathway from college to WWE. As per the release on the WWE corporate website, the Next in Line program, which I guess is being overseen by Mr. Triple H himself, this will allow WWE to recruit and develop future performers through collaborative partnerships with college athletes. Partnerships will give athletes access to the WWE Performance Center, as well as resources to train them for the likes of media, brand building, and community relations. WWE notably signed Olympic gold medalist Gable Steveson to an NIL deal in September. Stephanie McMahon recently stated that the WWE is hopeful that Steveson will join the full-time roster after he graduates. WWE will also announce a new class of NIL partnerships in the coming weeks. So what this means to me, and this is all I will spend on this because I don't really give a shit, but I just found it to be quite the coincidence that it further pushes WWE into their own little bubble and away from everything else that is professional wrestling. WWE, with this move is telling you, fuck everybody that you've come to know and love and appreciate on the indies. They'll never see the light of day in WWE, and we are going to hire college athletes that have no fucking background in professional wrestling whatsoever and train them in the WWE way. We don't want your indie garbage polluting our performance center. We want people that don't know anything about pro wrestling, so that all WWE. That's it. They don't want any indie garbage. They want to mold everybody in the WWE way so that all they know is WWE and nothing else. That's all this new collegiate athletics program means to me. There you go. Further pushing the agenda that WWE is seeking everything but professional wrestling. Major update on Walter moving to the main roster. A few days ago, we saw a photo of Walter in the gym, and he looks better than ever. He's getting into amazing shape, and he actually looks even scarier than he did 6 months ago. The Observer reports that there is indeed interest in bringing Walter to the United States, and the reason for him getting into better shape is because that's more important on the main roster. Of course, the United States could include NXT, but I don't think WWE is going to put Walter on NXT because he doesn't fit the mold over there. I see Walter going right to the main roster. I don't know where he's going to end up, but Walter is one of those things that I just fear will get ruined on Monday or Friday night. Now, Walter does have his group, Imperium, down on NXT. Imperium could lose the tag team championships, not to Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner, but they could lose the tag team championships before this decision's made. I see Walter maybe making a debut in the Royal Rumble. I see Walter, and if he's in the Royal Rumble, I don't see how he doesn't win the Royal Rumble, but I could see Walter in the Royal Rumble. I could see Imperium dropping the titles on a random episode of NXT. They join him on the main roster, which I do think should be the case. I do think Imperium should come as a threesome on the main roster. Kyle O'Reilly is as good as gone. Von Wagner is going to be a Vince McMahon pet project on NXT. So with O'Reilly gone and Imperium dropping the titles, I think he needs to join the main roster with those three together. Walter, Eichner, and Bartel all need to be together on the main roster. Where they go, I don't know. The thing with Walter is there is absolutely, and you're going to get people excited about this. You're going to get people jumping over the moon for this. And I'm going to call you out as soon as I see any inkling of excitement. Why do you trust WWE to do anything with Walter and keep the essence that is Walter? Why? Why do you trust them? This is going to be an inevitable fail. If they do not change Walter at all, they'll have the next megastar on their hands. Do not change anything about him. The way he speaks, the way he's portrayed, the music, the way he wrestles, nothing. Nothing needs to be changed. Nothing, absolutely nothing needs to be altered. I see this being a complete disaster. And I have absolutely no reason to think otherwise because WWE has given me no reason to think otherwise. Everybody wants Walter on the main roster, right? I've said it. You want to have him on Raw? He takes the title from Big E immediately and he runs that show like he ran NXT UK. Nobody will beat Walter. You want Roman Reigns to drop the title? There's your guy right there. If you're not going to create anybody from within to take the title off of Roman Reigns, that's your guy right there. That is your guy right there. Can you imagine Imperium versus the Bloodline? Huh? It writes itself. That's your next mega heel on the main roster. That is your man to take the title from Roman Reigns. I don't want to hear any other fucking ideas. That is it. Because WWE is not building up anybody to take that title from Roman Reigns. For all we know, it could be Brock Lesnar. That is your man. But this is going to be a complete and utter disaster waiting to happen. And so WWE gives me a reason to think otherwise. That's my opinion there. Finally, the reason why Cody Rhodes went through a flaming table on Dynamite. Dave Meltzer reported that he's got some background into the mindset of Mr. Cody Rhodes and why the spot was done. Rhodes reportedly wanted to create a new memory for his hometown in Atlanta, which is where the show took place back in February 2020, also in Atlanta. If you guys remember, Wardlow took on Rhodes in a steel cage match, memorable for Rhodes because the moonsault happened off the top rope and Cody won the match. The idea this time around was to do something even bigger and more memorable than that, and that's why the flaming table spot came into play. Both Rhodes and Andrade were said to be not badly injured after the match. Listen, I love the spot. It could have been done a little bit better, but I guess it was done the way that Cody Rhodes had practiced it and needed it to be done. I think if the table was moved back a little bit further to be in line with where they were landing, then I think it could have been a complete disaster. But I will say this. Of course, Cody Rhodes wanted a memory in Atlanta. The guy just does not want to turn heel. That was not a heel move. He got a standing ovation for his fucking efforts on Dynamite. And of course he wants a memory. It's Cody Rhodes. He needs to be above everybody and create memories and be Cody Rhodes, right? The other thing is, I get that people hate Cody Rhodes, but after a spot like that, you cannot really take his effort and his loyalty to us and question it. I mean, the guy is a madman, but you don't see anybody just doing spots like that if they didn't care. Cody Rhodes deserves a ton of respect for the way he carries himself as a professional wrestler, and that spot added a couple more exclamation points to that statement. He didn't have to do that, but he opted to do it. He opted to put his life at risk for us to create a memory. If nobody respects Cody Rhodes after that, and if you still hate Cody Rhodes after that, I think you got some serious soul searching to do if you are a fan of professional wrestling. Guys, I'm getting out of here. Thank you so very much for all of your support. If you did enjoy this extra today, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below, turn on the bell for all notifications. Go check out all the other videos that you might have missed on the channel, and make sure you guys join me live tomorrow with episode 399 live of Off The Script, 2 p.m. start time. Make sure you guys have a front row seat and get to the venue early. It should be a good one. Guys, thank you so much. Again, hit that thumbs up, and I'll see you tomorrow with more Off The Script, and I'll see you actually tonight live from the venue for SmackDown and AEW Rampage and the live stream post show tonight on Off The Script. Until then, guys, enjoy your Fridays, and I'll see you tonight for the post show for SmackDown.